Hi there, welcome to the second of these live ukulele workshops designed for beginners and absolute beginners to help you learn the ukulele faster and more effectively than some other methods out there, and also to make sure that you really get to grips with some of the most important parts of the ukulele. Last time I did the fundamentals of the ukulele. I looked over some of the history of the ukulele, some of the parts of the ukulele. Today, we're going to go into strumming. And strumming might seem like a strange choice. Some people might think, oh, well, I need some chords before I go into strumming. But actually, strumming is really, really important. I've been to a good few of these performances, open mic nights and other performances, and you see someone who just can't keep a good rhythm, and it throws everything off. Their playing's just disjointed, it's unsettling, and it spoils what could be something even better than it is. And also, strumming's something that you can learn to do even without knowing a chord. And strumming technique is important. So what we're going to look at today is four different types of strumming patterns that you can use. Some of these are very common, and they will appear in a lot of, especially very basic songs and pop songs. So before we get into that, let's go over the basics for your strumming stroke. Now I'm going to teach you how I strum, and this is the more traditional method for ukulele strumming. There are variants on this, and that's okay. If you want to strum in a different way, as long as it doesn't hurt your hand, and as long as you're happy with that, you're happy with the sound that you make, that's fine. Some people will tell you that's not fine, that you should strum in a particular way, and there are some advantages, which I'm going to talk about, but ultimately, it's up to you. That's the joy of an instrument. You get to play in a way you like. One of my favorite guitar players is called Raul Midon, and he's blind, and he plays the guitar in a completely different way to anyone else, because he has never seen how people play the guitar. He's a lot more percussive, and he'll hit the strings a lot more than sort of a traditional strum. So things like plectrums, some people say you should never play the ukulele with a plectrum, but if you want to play the ukulele with a plectrum, that's your choice. I'm going to teach you the more traditional way, as I say. So probably, if you picked up a ukulele, you may have gone to strum the ukulele with your thumb. This is probably the most common way that people try and do it when they have never had any experience with a musical instrument. And, it's okay. It gives a very soft, mellow sound, which can work very well on the ukulele because it can give that relaxed vibe that you might want to get. So strumming with your thumb is a very common method. It's not the one that I use. I use my pointer, my first finger, to strum, and there's a good reason for that. You can get louder sound, and you can also strum a lot quicker if you're using your finger and the nail on your finger rather than using the flat part, the soft flat part of your thumb. So the basics for a single stroke, there is an ant on my computer, on the top of the computer. I can't believe it. Oh well. So the basics for your stroke. Take your first finger, aim it around the sweet spot of your ukulele, which may be a bit different, but typically it's at the joint of the neck and the strings, and just strum down the ukulele like so. So that's how you traditionally do a downstroke on the ukulele. Now, the traditional method for doing an upstroke is by strumming your thumb up the ukulele neck with the nail. I know I said I don't use my thumb. I actually do for upstrokes and use the nail rather than the soft part, which is what many people do for downstrokes. The advantage of having both down and up is you can get two notes in very quick succession. So both of the fingernails. And the fingernails will give you a much louder sound. It will cause the strings to vibrate a lot more than using the thumb. So can you, let's see. So I'm trying to do it with about the same force. So you can see one's a bit brighter, one's a bit duller, one's a bit louder. And that's why it's useful to have. Later on, maybe you'll come across some techniques where you use your thumb for a downstroke as well. And you can get even more strokes in one go. Right, so now that you're familiar with the basics of how to strum down or up, let's go for the first strumming pattern. And it's very, very basic. All these strumming patterns, we're going to use a system known as 4/4. It's the most common timing that you will come across, especially with modern songs. In pop songs, and in most music that you'll come across, 4/4 is very common. And what that means is you have 4 normal beats for every bar. So what that sounds like is it goes 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's 4/4. So your first pattern, all you need to do is strum down on every beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, I'm covering my strings so they don't sound out. If you know a chord, then go ahead and hold that chord pattern down. But if not, you can just cover and hold the strings. It's still a good exercise to do. And if you can't think of a chord that you want to play, then just mute the strings as well. Right, now to make this a little more of a good practice, a worthwhile practice for you, I'm going to use a tool called a metronome. These are tools which can help you stay in time. They're very useful. I believe they're really worth checking out. I have a post on Uni which has some reasons why I think you should use a metronome. And this will help you. Doing something like this, using a metronome and practicing your strumming to a metronome will really help you get a good foundation of rhythm, which you can then use later on. So to start off with, for a nice easy pattern, let's go with 100 beats per minute. As it says, that means there will be 100 beats every minute. Pretty descriptive. BPM, you may see it at. So I've got 100 here, and that sounds like this. So not too fast, not too slow. A nice one to start with. So just let it go for about 4 beats. Now just keep doing that with your downstroke. Just going along. If, when you're happy and comfortable with that, you can move up the beats per minute to something like 120 or 140, 120, let's go for. See, oh, very nice, very simple, and then get up to 140, that'll be a fair bit quicker. And then you can just practice getting sure that your technique is good. But to start with, I suggest 100. If you find 100 a little too fast, slow it down, go for 80 or 60, but make sure that you strum on every beat. So that's the first pattern. Let's go on to the second, slightly more difficult pattern. And this time we're going to do strumming down and strumming up as well. So the pattern this time is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? I'm just going to take care of this ant whilst. There he goes. Yeah, there was an ant on my computer. I really cannot believe it. In fact, yeah. The thing that's going to be a little bit more tricky about this one is every time you hear a beat, you need to press, you need to strum twice, down and up, yeah? So it'll go beep, down, up, beep, down, up, okay? So it's a little more tricky when you're getting used to playing with a metronome, but it's, oh my word, he's back. This ant is back. I can't believe it. It's a little more tricky when you're getting, I'm gonna start again for that one. It's a little more tricky when you're getting used to playing with metronome, but ultimately it's not that difficult to do. So the only thing is you need to be down and up, yeah? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so now with a metronome. So I'm doing it with my thumb on the way up. But you may want to do it even with just one finger. I find it a bit harder. You don't get as nice sound in my experience. Okay, so those are the first two easy patterns. Now for the third pattern. And this one is a bit more irregular, so it's a bit more interesting, catches people's attention, and it starts to get you to sound a bit more Hawaiian, a bit more like you might imagine the ukulele to sound. So for this one, we're going down, down, up, down, down, up, okay? Or 1, 2 and 3, 4 and, okay? So 1, 2 and 3, 4 and, okay? If it helps, you might want to do a ghost strum. This is where you don't strum the string, okay? So you go 1 and 2 and, so you actually hit it that time. That may be more confusing for you, but it's a good technique to try and practice. It helps you to keep your rhythm a lot more. Okay, that's the pattern. Let's practice along with a metronome. Oh, no, so that's my rhythm. There we go. I'll actually strum in time. Okay. So that's the next one. It's a bit more irregular. As you can see, it feels a bit more relaxed, a bit more lazy because you're missing, you're not having it on every single one. It changes around a bit. This final one is even more irregular, and it's very, very common for sort of Hawaiian ukulele style music. You'll probably recognize it. And this one is down, down, up, rest, down. Okay. So it's 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4. Okay, that's with a metronome. So as you can see, that one's definitely even more irregular, even more lazy. It's very popular for ukulele style songs, and it's one that will really help you practice a few of these different techniques, such as strumming down and strumming up, changing between those patterns, and also adding in a rest. I really recommend that you do try and practice with a metronome because it really will help build up your rhythm. Of course, these are just the basics, but now you've got some ideas that you can use to try out with different strumming patterns. So you can switch between strumming one note and then strumming 2 notes in within the space of a note. So 2 seminotes within the space of a note, and you can switch it around. You know, you could be strumming very slowly for the verse, and then strumming strum a bit faster for the chorus. So that's the really cool thing about this. It's a chance to experiment as well. But these 4 strumming patterns are just there to give you sort of basic ideas that you can use for other things. Okay, I may be able to get questions. I don't know if anyone has asked any questions. Then let me see if I can get these up. It would appear that I can't get up questions yet. I need to still work out how to do that on these live videos. I'm sorry about that. The next video, the next live workshop is going to be the first 3 chords to get started with the ukulele. We're going to look at 3 fundamental chords, quite easy to use, but ones that will help you to be able to play a variety of songs, which you can then use in a lot of music. These chords make up, it's a funny thing, with just 3 chords you can actually play a whole load of songs. So they really help you get to grips and really get started with these strumming patterns as well. It won't be next week because unfortunately I'm traveling next week, so it'll be in 2 weeks' time. But I do have a blog post coming out during this week, so you can check that one out. And yeah, send me in any questions you have or any requests. You can do that via my email address at the website, which is chris@ukeuni.net. That's UKE University.net. Yeah, Uke University, sorry, .net. Or on Twitter @UkeUni, or on the Facebook page, you know, wherever you want. Send me a message if there's anything you'd like, some information about, or anything you could use some tips about. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon.